Welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Elna Miller, your host for today. We are broadcasting from our home studios this week again to bring you some of the new features from the Winter 21 release. After our product team shares the highlights, we will be spending some time taking your questions live on the air. So we'll be monitoring both the Release Readiness Trailblazers community as well as Twitter. So post your questions as soon as you can and be sure to use the hashtag SalesforceLive. We do recommend you post your longer, more detailed questions in the community so the conversation can continue after the webcast. If we don't get to your question on the air, we'll be sure to follow up with you within a few days. Now, all of our webcasts will be available on the Salesforce Live website for later viewing. Since we may be talking about the roadmap and making some forward-looking statements, please make sure that any purchasing decisions you make are based on currently available functionality. Now let's get started with Service Cloud and meet our product managers.
Hi everyone, I'm Ruchi Kumar, a product manager on the core service product team. I'm excited to share all the new features we have in store for this upcoming Winter 21 release. So let's jump right in. In this release, we focused on accelerating the start of the customer service journey to get you up and running quickly with an out-of-the-box Service Cloud app. In Winter 21, we're excited to introduce Service Setup Assistant, making it easier than ever to get started with Service Cloud. Within a few minutes and only a few steps, your team can begin supporting customers and closing cases quickly. Service Setup Assistant creates an out-of-the-box service app that is optimized with layouts and configurations based on industry best practices, so your agents are empowered to solve issues faster. These default configurations include service profiles, routing queues, and best-in-class case record page layouts. In addition, the out-of-the-box Service Cloud app comes with pre-built productivity tools, including 3 time-saving macros, 5 frequently used quick texts, and 3 popular flows. With that, let's dive into a demo and see Service Setup Assistant in action. To get started, open Setup and navigate to Service Setup Assistant. This is your new one-stop shop for setting up your Service Cloud experience. A single click of this toggle turns on your Service app and lets the assistant go to work. We'll work behind the scenes to enable your team to support customers over email, setting up case routing queues and user profiles, all with the goal of saving you time. Within moments, you have an app preloaded with best-in-class layouts and productivity tools, including macros, quick text, and flows to close cases in record time. To see the complete list of configurations you'll get out of the box, click on the Help dock here. Once the process is complete, click Get Started to finish the rest of setup. Next is setting up Email to Case. This turns emails into cases that are routed directly to your service team. All we need from you to set this up is your main support email address. Note, if you turned on the toggle, we ask that you enter a different address than the one associated with your account on Salesforce. Once you add your main support email address, click Generate Address. Clicking this button allows us to intake the support email address you entered and generate a secure custom email address for you. To set up email forwarding to Salesforce, copy this generated email address and enter it in the settings of your email provider. And with that, you have Email to Case set up. The last step is adding your agents and teammates to the Service Cloud app. You can do so easily by clicking on Add Users, entering the email of the user you wish to add, a unique username, their first and last name, and then selecting a profile for the user. We have created 2 out-of-the-box profiles as part of building a service app for you: Service Agent and Service Supervisor. These profiles come with pre-built productivity tools, permission sets, and default case page layouts based on industry best practices. We recommend you select one of these 2 profiles based on your service needs. We also created 2 default queues for you: Service Email and Service Phone. You may select the one that your agent will work in. With that, hit Add User, and the user will receive an email letting them know they've been added to a service app. You can continue by following the same steps to add more individuals from your team and hit Finish when you're done. And with that, once you hit Complete, you're all set. You have a service console outfitted with optimal configurations. How easy was that? You are welcome to add even more configurations by selecting these additional wizards. Let's take a look at this new Service Cloud app by heading over to App Launcher. Here is an app that we can select, distinguishable through a title of Service Console - your company name. By clicking on the new app, we can see the pre-configured utility bar and navigation bar already set up. Let's click on cases where we have sample case data to help agents get familiar with the console. If we click on the sample case, you can find the case record page layout with case details and pre-built productivity tools all in one place. We have 3 time-saving macros pre-built here: Close Case, Escalate Case, and Request More Info, which are ready to run. In addition, we have 5 pre-built quick texts to help agents respond to customers faster, and also 3 pre-built flows in the Actions and Recommendations component: Create a case, reset password, and verify identity. So there you have it. In the matter of minutes, we have a Service Cloud app built so you and your team can begin serving your customers right away. And we're not stopping there. We continue to invest in delivering faster value to our customers in their service journey. Here's a sneak peek of what's coming in future releases. To start off, we'll be introducing even more out-of-the-box default solutions in the Service Setup Assistant to further supercharge agent productivity. This includes enabling and pre-configuring knowledge for licensed users with all the necessary profiles, perm sets, fields, and a page layout. We'll also be enabling messaging and chat out of the box, as well as setting up default case status pick list values and turning on case merge. Note, these additional default configurations will be available to customers who turn on Service Setup Assistant this winter or later. So stay tuned for even more coming from Service Setup Assistant. Coming soon, we will also launch a simplified SLA setup for out-of-the-box basic SLA management. SLA and entitlements are powerful tools, and we are making it easier than ever for your team to get started using them. These new solutions will come equipped with the default milestone types, first response, time to close, and time to escalate, which are based on SLA best practices. Furthermore, we are consolidating multiple entitlement management nodes into a single page and making it easier to set up service-level agreements for your customers with a guided step-by-step setup flow. Next, let's share the upgrades we're making to email threading. We've heard your feedback. Based on customer demand, we will no longer thread emails via plain text ref IDs and move to using standard email headers. By eliminating the plain text ref ID and using standard email headers, the solution is significantly more secure and hacker-proof than ever before. Moreover, by using a combination of the message ID, in reply to, and reference headers, this new solution eliminates creation of duplicate cases in the reply all scenario, including replies to forwarded emails. We're thrilled to share that this email threading enhancement is available to turn on as soon as Winter 21. And since this solution is more robust and secure, we will be turning it default on starting in the Spring 21 release update. Moving on to exciting updates on knowledge. With the Winter 21 release, standard sharing and criteria-based sharing for Lightning Knowledge is GA. You can use this feature with all users, including guest and high-volume users in a community. Remember that when you enable sharing, you will no longer use data categories for controlling access to articles. However, data categories can still be used for filtering search. When sharing is enabled, the owner field is used to identify which user or queue has control of the article. With Winter 21, you can now mass change the owner on article drafts from list views. This is useful when someone is out on PTO and their articles still need to be managed and published. Rounding out the Winter 21 release, you can now attach articles across all channels, including voice, chat, messaging, and social. Articles will automatically attach when you insert them inline in a chat transcript, messaging session, or social post. Or you can attach manually to these channels and to a voice call. Coming soon, we will change the favorites feature to redirect to the latest version of the article rather than the version that was current when the article was favorited. Also, to provide a better accessibility experience, we will make it possible to add captions on images in articles so they can be used by screen readers. We can't wait to hear your feedback on the features released this winter and are excited for you to see what we have in store for future releases. So stay connected on much, much more coming from Core Service. That's it for me. Now passing it back to Priyank for more exciting Service Cloud voice updates.
Thanks, Ruchi. My name is Priyank Saxena. I'm Product Manager, part of the Service Cloud Product Management team. I am very excited to present second release Readiness Live for a brand new product line, Service Cloud Voice, which we just launched this summer. So, all right, let's jump into it.
Just a few months ago in Summer 20 release, we launched Service Cloud Voice, a native, intelligent telephony solution inside Service Console, empowering customers to integrate telephony and route calls right alongside with other digital channels within the Customer 360 service platform. Service Cloud Voice brings the power of Einstein to the phone call and to boost agent productivity. With intelligent transcriptions, agents and supervisors can view voice and CRM data in real time. Here are some of the highlights of Winter 21. With improved UX, agents can now pause and resume call recordings and do seamless call transfers. They can additionally attach knowledge articles. Supervisors can now view live transcripts from the Omni console. And I'll demo this amazing cool feature. Real-time transcriptions, in addition to currently supported French, Spanish, and English dialects, will also support Italian and German with winter release. And now customers can unlock more voice intelligence and automation for agents through Voice Toolkit API and invoke next best action. I'll cover more of this in detail. Voice Call Object now also support Process Builder and is chatter-enabled for collaboration. There are more exciting features in upcoming release, like Call Wrap-Up Timer, Bring Your Own Telephony, Einstein Call Coaching for post-call analysis, and real-time intelligence with intent and sentiments. Well, let's explore the Winter 21 features in more detail. With Winter release, supervisors can now live monitor conversations between agent and customer without connecting to audio line. This significantly improves supervisor productivity. They can monitor voice and other channels and identify agents who need assistance. Control panel now includes a call recording visual indicator. Agents can now pause and resume live call recordings with a simple toggle available on the call control. Supervisors can assign permissions to agents who are allowed to toggle call recordings. This enables use cases for contact center agents to pause recording when collecting data-sensitive things like credit card info, PII, and other sensitive information. Improved call controls will allow for easier and intuitive call transfers and outbound calls for agents, and I'll show this in demo as well. Customers can now further unleash the power of real-time transcriptions by leveraging Voice Toolkit API. API Framework allows customers to programmatically subscribe to real-time transcripts combined with IVR data, Customer 360 data to surface business process flows, call scripts, upsell offers, compliance, and other right and relevant recommendations and next steps for agents to quickly solve customer issues. Developer recipes and Kickstarter components are published on developer.salesforce.com. With Winter 21, we're also introducing some platform improvements to native voice call object. Voice call object now supports Lightning flows and process builder. It really enables customers to automate tasks, create cases through automation, and truly leverage the power of Salesforce platform. Voice call also supports chatter now for better collaboration between agents and supervisors. Let's review some of these features in a live demo. So I'm logged into Service Console as an agent. First thing to highlight is an updated native soft phone in Omni. As an agent, I can set my present status to receive an inbound phone call right here along with other digital channels. As inbound call lights up, let me accept the call and greet the caller, and I'm going to play agent and customer for a couple of sentences. Hello, this is customer service. How can I help you? Hi, this is customer. Can you please help me with resetting my password? All right, so with that, I'm going to put both agent and customer on mute for the rest of my demo. Let me first show you a much simplified transfer flow embedded in SoftPhone. Agents can initiate a warm transfer using these intuitive steps to add another caller, and then can use a speed dial or enter the number and complete the transfer. As the call is progressing, agents now have a visual call recording indicator. Agents with the right permissions can pause and resume the call recording from the Lightning call control panel. Let me pause it. Agents can take the same action from Omni widget. Let me resume the call recording from here. With this simple action, agents can now comply with PII and sensitive data rules for call recordings. Let's switch to Omni Console Supervisor View. Native voice channel allows supervisors to view all digital channels, including voice, in a single pane of view. Gone are the days when supervisors have to physically connect to audio channels to listen in. So this is super exciting for supervisors. They can visualize conversations with a simple click in real time between agents and customers and monitor up to 5 calls and jump in when agents need any assistance. Real-time transcriptions not only augments agents by capturing the conversation. Let's explore how Voice Toolkit API can unlock voice intelligence from transcriptions. The starter guide and sample code published on developer.salesforce.com will make it easier for customers to build Lightning components to trigger next best action, not only from Customer 360 data, but also based on live telephony events, real-time transcripts, and IVR data to deliver recommendations, execute Apex, and even launch external processes to drive customer experience and agent productivity. You can follow the GitHub link to install this sample component. After this component is installed in your developer environment, you can add this to page layout for development and testing. As you can see, I have already done this in my demo org. Let me also show you how easy it is to configure next best action with voice. Start with creating a simple strategy. First, add a node to load recommendations. Make sure that you have some sample recommendations in your org. And define a filter node. And instead of mapping to an object, you can define your own input field. And this is a key differentiator around how to execute NBA dynamically. You can define one or more multiple fields depending on how you want to orchestrate the recommendations. I have defined keyword as my input field name and also make sure to create some recommendations. All right, so since everything is all configured, let's go back to voice call record and explore Toolkit API test a sample component. As you can see, it is listening to all the live events as I mute or unmute, pause recordings, or resume recordings. Transcription is also subscribed. So as you build your dynamic custom component, let me show how easy it is to launch next best action from your component by passing simple key value pair. Here, Einstein is recommending password reset flow. Agent can now launch the flow and follow the simple steps to complete the reset process and resolve customer issues faster. Watch out for more innovation coming up in future releases around real-time voice intelligence.
And thank you. That's all from me. Over to Mayuk for more exciting updates from Service Einstein team.
Thanks, Priyank. Hi, everyone. My name is Mayuk Powell, and I'm responsible for some of the Service Einstein products. This is the team that brings AI to Service Cloud, including Einstein chatbots. And today, I'm excited to talk about all the new features we are launching as a part of the Winter 21 release. Do look out for a push towards multiple languages across our product portfolio, a brand new case wrap-up pilot, and last but not the least, pre-built starter templates for Einstein chatbots. With that, let's get the wheels turning. In this release, we are focused on customers who have a global business to be successful with both Einstein article recommendations and reply recommendations. We have launched multiple language pilots for both of these. We are also looking to extend case classification with real-time scoring for these customers, meaning cases will get recommendations on creation as opposed to via hourly batch. Lastly, we are introducing pilot for case wrap-up. I'll talk more about it in the next few minutes. Before I move on to the details of these features, quick teaser about what is upcoming in the next release. Voice call wrap-up, article and reply recommendations, multi-language going GA, and finally, article recommendations and model scorecard analytics. For article recommendations, we now have pilot support for French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, and Italian, in addition to GA support for English. Einstein will detect the language of the case, serve the best article in that language, or fall back to a default language if no article exists. Additionally, it's now auto-enabled for all Lightning Knowledge users. And lastly, customers no longer need a minimum of 100 Lightning Knowledge articles to enable article recommendations. We have incorporated machine learning improvements to relax this data requirement. So how does auto-enable really work? Essentially, if an agent is using knowledge, they will get Einstein article recommendations. You can choose between two options. First, all Lightning Knowledge users. This option is selected for you, so you no longer need to manually manage user permission assignment. If your Einstein article recommendations model is already active, some users may see article recommendations for the first time. And the second option is specific users. Select this option to show article recommendations to users of your own choice. For reply recommendations, we now have pilot support for 16 additional languages in addition to English and GA. This language support is currently for single language orgs, with support for multi-language orgs coming in the upcoming releases. In the winter of 21, we addressed the feedback we received from you, our customers. You said that your agents wanted to see recommendations irrespective of the layout they were on, and Einstein Replies component was only available on the chat subtab or record. So we made the component flexible and record agnostic, and hence we came up with this flexible doc composer. More on that in the demo. Lastly, we are now accepting pilots for Einstein Case Wrap-Up. With Case Wrap-Up, you can close cases faster by automatically predicting fields required for wrap-up. This will improve agent efficiency and increased case field completion for better reporting. With that, let's dive into a demo on how we have added intelligence to assist agents at every step of their journey. I'm going to pretend to be an agent, Jesse, who is helping chat customers. So here I am on the agent console, and I see an incoming chat. So I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And the next thing, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. There we go. And while I wait for the first customer to respond, I'm going to accept the second chat. Here you can see on the top right, Einstein replies component is initially empty. But as soon as we get a message from the customer, the component loads and shows the top 3 recommendations for the agent. And this is Einstein reply recommendation live in action. Now for the flexible composer, which is record agnostic and context aware. Let's see this more in action. So I'm going to move to the case tab to look at some details about the issue. On the top right, we can see the appropriate article recommended based on the case subject. As an agent, I'll read through the article to see the right resolution and attach it to the case. In the winter of 21, we extended articles beyond English with multi-language pilot. Einstein can now suggest articles in other languages based on the language of the case. Now that I have the knowledge of the right resolution steps, I'm going to post the most relevant recommendation. You can see as I move from chat to case tab that the recommendations are visible, giving agents the flexibility to move around as they need. As a customer takes time to follow the troubleshooting steps, I'll move on to the next chat. Here we see that the customer is upset and wants to file a complaint. As you can see, the composer reflects a new chat ID and the recommendations are relevant to this specific chat and customer. This is how smoothly and seamlessly the composer switches context. We'll go ahead and post some of these recommended replies and see if that resolves the customer issues. Seems like we provided the resolution and the customer ended the chat. Now that the chat has ended, using Einstein Case Wrap-Up, which is in pilot right now, Einstein is going to make the wrap-up process a breeze, automatically filling selected fields based on data from chat transcripts. All I have to do as an agent is to review the values and go ahead and click Save. And that's how easy we are making it for agents to resolve and close chats and cases, helping them to be more productive and efficient and adding intelligence at every step of the journey. Moving on, let's talk about the exciting world of Einstein chatbots and what we have for you in the winter release. In this release, you can build smarter chatbots in less time with a brand new bot enhancements. First, we got guided bot setup and pre-built templates for new customers that include importing App Exchange templates. Starting the bot development process with a bot template that works accelerates the time to value. Second, we got Input Recommender, which is now in beta. Einstein recommends new inputs to train your NLP model from your chat transcript data. We are also adding support for several new languages. We are making the bot development a team effort with enhanced permissions. And finally, we are adding custom context variables mapping. As before I move on to the details of these features, quick teaser on what's coming up in the next release. We got HIPAA compliance, which is great for healthcare industry, and FAQ bots. In this Winter 21 release, we have created a starter template to jumpstart your journey towards configuring a bot that you can deploy live to your customers. So now instead of starting from scratch, you can start from a working example that's deployed in under a minute. Also, you can use the template to learn best practices in bot setup and conversation design in a hands-on way. And lastly, you can build on the common use cases we provide for sales and service, like lead qualification and issue reporting, and customize them for your business. Note that this feature requires the following permissions: customize application, or modify metadata, or manage bots. To create a bot using the intro template, customers must have messaging and chat enabled in their org. Next, let's talk about Input Recommender, which is now going beta. As a recap, it allows Einstein help you leverage past chat logs to identify new utterances. When you enter a phrase related to your intent, Einstein searches your chat logs for similar phrases that can directly be added to your model. This feature requires that the customer have 10,000 live chat transcript records in their org. You can activate Input Recommender on the Einstein Bot's main page. To launch Input Recommender, click Get Recommendation from a new intent or click Find Similar next to any utterances. We're also introducing bot permissions for business management. You can share bot development with multiple stakeholders while keeping your data secure. The Manage Bots permission allows you to build and maintain bots while Manage Bots training data gives access to intent sets and training activities. These updates help you maintain your bot's intent model across a broad team while keeping bot development to a select few. Then we got Map View, which is even more accessible now, thanks to the new location-based framework for screen readers. When you select a dialog, screen readers describe the child elements and identify whether Einstein is enabled. Admins can use these robust keyboard navigation tools in Map View to visually navigate bots. With new language supports, you can now expand your international presence with chatbots. Japanese, Chinese Traditional, and Chinese Simplified are now generally available. And Russian, Dutch, and Brazilian Portuguese are now beta languages. Last but not the least, with custom context variables, you can enable your bot to act on incoming context from your customer by mapping custom context variables. Chat admins can customize the pre-chat form to deliver information to the bot, and messaging admins can capture phone numbers to link to existing records. Every custom context variable can map to multiple channels and fields. Well, that is a lot of new features in the world of Einstein chatbots. Let's dive into a demo and see the bot starter template in action. So here I am in the Einstein bot setup page. This is where my bot building journey begins. Let's say I'm an admin and my agents have been complaining that they're spending a lot of time answering customer questions regarding their order status. So I would like to build a bot for my organization that allows my customers to look up the status of their existing orders and do it in a self-service manner. So I start by clicking New to create a new bot. And now I see a brand new option in winter of 21 to start from a template instead of starting from scratch. Since I want to get up and running as fast as possible, I go ahead and select the template option. Now I can personalize my bot by giving it a name. Let's call it WinterBot. You can see that the name I choose is used in the greeting message the bot is going to send to the user on the left. I can also select the language for the bot, which I'll keep as English for now, but as you can see, we support 14 different languages for bot conversations. And new in winter, we got Japanese, Chinese Simplified, and Chinese Traditional as GA, and Dutch, Russian, and Brazilian Portuguese as beta languages. Next, I'll configure the use cases I want my bot to handle. These use cases correspond to the initial menu items my bot will present to my users. I can select and deselect use cases, and the menu items will update automatically, as you can see here on the left. For this demo, I'm going to keep it very simple and leave the default selections, though I'm really only interested in the last option here, check the status of an order. To preview my bot, I need to link it to an existing embedded service deployment, which is configured separately. Luckily, I already have one set up, so I'll go ahead and select it. It's called Demo Deployment. And now, just like that, I'm ready to deploy my bot. As soon as I hit Proceed, the bot building process kicks off behind the scenes. As you can see, a lot of stuff is happening here. And now, when I click Finish, it's going to take me to the bot that was just built. Let's give it a couple of seconds. And boom, my bot has been created. I just saved all the time it would take to build this bot from scratch. With a few more clicks, I can start previewing the actual conversation my customers will see when they're interacting with the bot. At the same time, I can see the underlying configuration here on the left-hand side that produces that conversational experience I'm seeing in the bot preview. Let's go ahead and activate this bot. You can see the welcome greeting that the bot sends me matches the bot message on the left. Also, the menu items I see match the menu items that are configured in the main menu dialog. So now I'm going to assume the role of a customer who would like to know the status of his order. So he goes to my site to get an answer by interacting with my bot. I'm going to select the check the status of an order menu item so I can get the status of the order quickly. The bot asks me if I have the order number handy. I looked it up before, so I go ahead and say yes. And now it asks me to enter the order number. I go ahead and do so. And just like that, the bot responds with the order status and also the order amount. Magic. The order number I just provided was mapped to the order object in Salesforce, and the bot used a pre-configured standard flow that comes with the template bot to look up the status as well as the amount. The bot asks if I want to change anything in the order. For now, I'm satisfied, so I can go ahead and say no. And then I end the chat. Now, if I navigate over to my recent orders, I can also verify the order status and the amount in Salesforce. So to summarize, in minutes, I have just built a bot that can automatically intake an order, perform lookups, and answer customer questions on order status. We're looking forward to getting your feedback as you try out this feature in winter of 21, and can't wait to see all the creative ways you customize this template to handle new use cases for your business. We just covered a lot of features for this release. Among others, do check out Input Recommender and pre-built starter templates for Einstein chatbots, Flexible Composer for reply recommendations, real-time case classification, and finally, sign up for the Case Wrap-Up pilot. With that, back to Elna for some Q&A.
Well, hey, we're here ready for your questions. So thank you for all those great presentations, great content, lots of great new features coming in Service Cloud. So we have some questions coming in, and if you have any questions that you think of as we get rolling here with Q&A, please do enter those in the community or on Twitter. Make sure you use Salesforce Live as your hashtag, and we'll try to get to them on the air. So let's start by talking about the new service setup assistant, because there's a lot of interest in that. It seems like a really great time saver. So can you talk about, Ruki, can you talk about what features are enabled and come out of the box as part of the setup assistant in Winter 21?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm really excited about, we're also very much excited about releasing this in the winter. And so we have both default configurations and pre-built productivity. So for default configurations, we have two service profiles that have been created for you, service agent and service supervisor. We also have two default queues, service email, service phone. We have a really easy setup wizard that I'm sure you saw earlier. We also are setting up email to case for you, so that's out of the box. And lastly, we have a default case page, record page, or case flexi page as we call it internally. So you can have your console laid out based off our best practices. And for the pre-built productivity, we have 5 pre-built quick texts, 3 pre-built macros, and 3 pre-built flows in our actions and recommendations component. So look out for that.
Great. So that sounds like a great time saver for new customers or customers who are new to Service Cloud. But Stephen was actually wondering if this could be used for, let's say, existing service orgs. Are there any maybe optimizer features or anything that would make this useful for active orgs that already have service?
Great question, Stephen. I'll answer that in 3 parts. So the first part is for existing orgs, there is a way to just turn it on and try it out with a new service app. So it won't kind of upset what you've already set up. We are already checking to make sure we don't override any of the decisions you made, but we can set this up in a new service app. So you can create a new service app for this, or you can even do it as a new service app in Sandbox. The second way it won't disrupt, I would say, is that we've assigned these new consoles and pre-built productivity tools to 2 new profiles. Those are service agent, service supervisor. So if you're assigned to any of the other profiles or if anyone on your team is, they also will not be impacted. And so those are 2 ways that you can really try them out as an existing customer. And then the third is just a sneak peek. I know you had asked about Optimizer and what we're doing there. So I don't want to give too much away, but we're thinking about in the future how to better incorporate and have more discoverability and kind of make sure that even our existing customers are setting it up with our best-in-class practices.
Nice. So you could actually create another service app without disrupting anything that you've got set up that your agents are using to experiment with, a different way, starting from scratch. What would it look like? And, maybe play with it and then decide if you want to migrate to that app.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great opportunity also for if you're in Classic and you want to know how to go over for Lightning. And so it's a great way to do so. And like I said, it's available in the Sandbox. And so if you want to test it out, don't want to migrate data, it's a great way to just play around or even train your new agents and how to get familiar with the whole console and what we've built.
Nice. Now, you were talking a little bit about the pre-built macros and the quick text. Can you use those independently of the setup assistant? Like, let's say you haven't used quick text yet, or you haven't really delved into macros. Maybe you're looking to just, start to use those features. Could you use those pre-built package items without the setup assistant?
That's an interesting question. So we actually they're loaded in the new case record page that comes as part of turning on Service Setup Assistant. But again, it can be loaded if you create a new app and try it out there, and you can see from there. But yes, it is kind of a package deal, and it comes as part of the Service Setup Assistant. Great.
So the next question is from Brian, and this might be for Nupur. So if you can answer this one. So he's wondering about the new threading behavior and the removal of the ref IDs and wondering if that might cause any issues. He's referring specifically to the release notes, which says, to avoid issues after the update, ensure that user headers are set correctly on emails. Can you give some advice on how they might ensure that?
Sure. So thanks for the question, Brian. The specific reason to mention that specifically is that if as a customer you've been using some custom code which references the ref ID, you want to go back and evaluate where that is being used. So that is the key reason why we put that in there, because once you accept that release update, we will not be checking for the ref ID. So if you have any custom code that is using ref ID as part of that matching, then that's where you're going to see trouble. In terms of the other headers, with the Winter 21 release, and once you accept that opt-in, which is currently an opt-in, the headers are being actively tracked by the app. And from that perspective, you shouldn't have to do anything additional. But the key here is make sure that where you are using ref ID, you'd have to go back in and make sure that that logic is updated.
Gotcha. So got a question from Andre about, and also about this setup assistant. Is it going to be available in other languages? And for example, are the quick text and macros going to be translated, or are they already available in other languages?
Yeah, thanks for that question. And yes, the answer is it's available in all languages that Salesforce and Service Cloud support. And yes, the quick text and pre-built macros are all translated and assigned based off your org's language.
Great. Question about Einstein for Service from Andre. Is this a add-on, or is this included with Service Cloud? Or are there parts of it that are included and parts that are an add-on?
Yeah, I think I can handle that. That's a great question, and thanks for it. So Service Cloud Einstein itself is an add-on, which on top of EE and UE, which gives you access to article recommendations and reply recommendations. Bots is slightly different. So it's a part of the digital engagement add-on. So if you purchase digital engagement on top of your EE and UE, you can get bots. Actually, bots is also automatically a part of the unlimited edition as well. So you can get access to Einstein bots that way.
Great, thank you. Also, question about bots from Sarita. Can you enable bots in a sandbox just to play around with them, or would you need a license first to be able to test it?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think you should be able to enable bots in a sandbox and play with it. Yeah, for sure.
Great. And if not, certainly in a pre-release org, you should be able to, if you would need to select which edition, maybe enterprise or
in the unlimited edition, bots is kind of a freemium, so you already get 25 conversations for bots out of the box.
Okay. So if you get an unlimited edition developer org, if I'm pretty sure that's possible, I think.
Yeah.
Then you would be able to test it. As far as the sandbox goes, yeah, I think it was really was about the licensing. If you don't have a license in your production org, would you be able to test it in a sandbox?
So I think you should be able to, but we can follow up on that.
Yeah, we should probably double check and maybe, and then Andre was also asking about Service Cloud Voice and whether that would be available in other languages, in particular Portuguese.
Okay, sure, I can answer that. So Service Cloud Voice itself is, it's like any other Service Cloud application supported in all the languages that Service Cloud would normally support. I think Andre's question is specifically about the transcription. So for transcription, currently we support French, Spanish, and English, and a few dialects around that. In a month from now, we'll support Italian and German, and Japanese by end of the year. Portuguese is next on the list. I don't have the exact date, but we can definitely follow up and give more specifics on the timeline.
Right.
For additional languages.
So a little bit more about Service Cloud Voice. So can you just talk about how voice calls and cases coexist in Salesforce?
Sure. Yeah, so with Service Cloud Voice, we have introduced a new schema, and it's really meant for high volume contact centers with voice call as being an underlying key data model for supporting that. Customers have an option for low touch, low overhead type of transactions. They could just create voice calls, which are automatic, which do get automatically created every time there's inbound or outbound calls. Additionally, customers do have an option to create a case from a voice call if they want to have more follow-up and more processes around the case. So both voice calls and cases can coexist depending on what kind of use cases they want to solve within their organization.
Thank you. Quick question about bots. I think this is for Mayak. Can I customize the template bot for my business?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So as you know, as Salesforce customers, you love customizing Salesforce. So even though we come out with a few template use cases, for instance, you can report a new case or create a new case, create a lead, or look up an order status, but you can definitely customize it. For example, let's say we out of the box have order status look up by order number, but let's say your business use case asks for an email address, so you can customize it to add email. So definitely you can. And we do encourage you, because the idea of the templates is to have the best practices packaged in and get you started. But for your unique use cases, I'm sure that you would need to customize it to make it work.
Now, since languages are definitely a key theme for today, can you also talk about what the new language support in bots is applicable to?
Yeah, I think, so when we talk about this, that we are now GA in Chinese, Simplified, Japanese, and doing several beta languages, that applies to the NLP aspect to the Einstein chatbots, which means that now you can create intents in all of those languages, and you also can leverage our system entities Also, behind the scenes, we call them named entity recognition, like location or person or organization in all of those new languages.
Great, thanks. Okay, we got a question from Nirajan. My question is related to live calls. Is there a standard connector from Salesforce, or do you need to use third-party connectors?
Yeah, so with Service Cloud Voice, the telephony is native, a part of the Service Cloud Voice solution. So you don't need any additional connector. Service Cloud Voice itself comes with a soft phone dialer, which is embedded within Omni. So as a customer, you're really configuring Service Cloud Voice from the Service Cloud setup, and that behind the scenes establishes the integration with Amazon Connect, which provides the telephony. So it's all native. The soft phone, the inbound, the outbound, all of the call experiences and flows for agents are all within Salesforce.
Great, thanks for that clarification. And can we also talk a little bit about Amazon and AWS? So for example, does a customer need a deep understanding of the AWS platform in order to set up Service Cloud Voice?
Yeah, that's a great question. In our vision behind Service Cloud Voice to really make telephony very easy to configure solution. So as part of the setup and provisioning process for Service Cloud Voice, the process itself creates the integration between Amazon Connect and the Salesforce org. And then that solution comes pre-built with the standard flows, connect flows, and Lambda functions that are out of box enabled to facilitate inbound or outbound or transfer any of the flows, including real-time transcription, access to call recording, and access within Salesforce. So very minimal Amazon expertise needed. If customers do want to extend those use cases, then they will have to get more understanding of Amazon Connect and general platform.
Gotcha. Now, are these services provided through Salesforce completely, or might a customer get a bill from Amazon for it?
It's one-stop shop. Great question, right? It's a one-stop shop, and for Service Cloud Voice, customers buying everything from Salesforce. Salesforce, all of the invoicing and is provided by Salesforce. Customers not getting additional invoices from Amazon.
Great, thank you. Got another bot question. This is from Tim. You mentioned 10,000 samples would be needed to train the bot. Is there a sample length that is needed, I guess, for the individual samples?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. First of all, I think that 10,000 samples for bots is no longer needed, because with Input Recommender, which we are doing beta right now, it will help you to look up in your chat transcript and generate utterances. So you require much less than that. So that's the first thing that I wanted to call out. And second, the length should not be unnatural. So again, based upon what you're seeing use cases, the kind of questions your users are asking, your utterance length should actually match that. So the more you look into your chat transcript and already what kind of questions are being asked, what length they're being asked, that is exactly what should be used in training. Again, you can leverage our Input Recommender, which you can give 2 or 3 such sample utterances, and then it will generate the remaining based upon your chat transcript, the kind of question your users are already asking.
So when you say natural, you mean like a sentence as opposed to just a word or a couple of words, like an actual, fully formed phrase or sentence would be easier for it to use? Is that what you're?
Not necessarily. If the customers are saying one word or a phrase, we should train with that. If our customers in this use case are asking a whole sentence, then that is what we should be using. And Input Recommender would help you to look into your chat transcript and extract those out.
Great. Well, thanks for that. That's great news that you need less than 10,000, because that could be maybe a bit of a hard thing for some customers to do if they don't have a super high volume business right now. So thanks for that. Andre wanted to know about Einstein replying, I guess, Einstein reply recommendations or replies. Do they work with WhatsApp chat?
Thank you for the question, Andre. You can definitely leverage the reply recommendations in WhatsApp. The only caveat I would say is you do need to train your chat transcript earlier. So if you can do that, then you can leverage it in a WhatsApp channel.
Great question. Let's just pepper this in a little bit of knowledge in here and go back to Ruki. What happens to data categories when I enable sharing for knowledge? Can they still control record access, or is there a change in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thanks for asking that, because then we want to make sure we have clarity. So when standard sharing is enabled, data categories will no longer be used to control user access to articles. However, they can still be used to filter searches.
Great, thanks for that. And another knowledge question, will we be able to mass change the owner on published articles?
Yeah, so the answer there, thank you for that question, is no. So owners can only be changed on drafts.
Gotcha. So can you make something, can you turn something into a draft once it's been published in order to change it and then republish?
That might be a little difficult. This is something that they can look into, and they can obviously re-edit the article and go from there. But yeah, it's important to know before you publish the article that you have the right information there.
Yes, thank you. Okay, another question about integrating Salesforce Voice with other telephony. So can you use other CTI connectors if you want to use your actual phone line?
Sure.
For voice, yeah.
Yeah, so good question. So with the summer launch this year, the Service Cloud Voice is out of box integrated with Amazon Connect. Product team is actively working on what we're calling bring your own telephony track, which would allow other telephony providers to integrate and agents getting a similar experience on the Salesforce console. So that's on the roadmap. And we can follow up and share more details around if customers are interested in signing up for the pilot.
Okay, great. So Julie is wondering about setting up email to case. I guess this relates to the new threading, I think. How is the header created in email to case, and how does the setup change from the previous?
Thanks for the question, Julie. So maybe we, at least the part of the question where she's asking about the how, we may want to take that conversation in the community, because I want to understand really like what the genesis of that ask is. But in terms of the second part of the question, basically, I think she wants to know, the second part of the question was the...
Yeah, I think she just kind of wants to know how the new email to case setup differs, and what are the changes in terms of the header? Like, how is it created?
So the setup, as in if you go to service setup and you set up email to case, there really isn't anything different you should be doing. The key here is that if you have custom code that is using the ref ID, which is actually generated by the service that is part of Service Cloud. It's not something that a customer does or generates themselves. We currently generate something called a ref ID, which is plain text and added to your subject line. That ref ID is what is being deprecated. There's a lot of different use cases because of what we had to do that. And instead, we're using the message ID, the in reply to, and the references headers that will be populated once you turn on the release update. So from a perspective of doing anything special for email to case for this new feature, you shouldn't have to do anything special if you have no custom code that's referencing the ref ID. Technically, they should all just work out of the box for you.
That's really helpful. So you basically want to make sure that you aren't referencing the ref ID, which is not actually a native part of the email header. It's added by the service. So as long as you're not referencing that, then the custom code may need to change to reference another. Sorry, I'll just turn that off. Phone calls, and this is live. So yeah, what I was trying to rephrase there is to make sure I understand that the ref ID is not a native part of the email header, but some customers may be referencing the ref ID in custom code. So if you have custom code referencing the ref ID, you'll need to change that to using other parts of the email header that are being used by the new threading.
Yeah, so
service.
what you want to use is the message ID. And another nuanced point is that actually as of the last summer release, the summer 20 release, we've already been saving the message ID. So the one question we get very often is like, what happens to emails that, you know, as the start of this release, are we going to have disconnected emails because they don't have the message ID? We've been saving the message ID for a release already. So in terms of the time, you know, of course, if you have some really old responses to emails, you know, from 6 to 8 months ago, that will generate a new case. But for anything from the last 6 months, once you turn on this CRUC update, it already has the message ID. It already will be honoring the new logic if you turn on the update. And that's why this is an optional update until the release of our summer 21 release, so that that's enough time for customers to revisit, you know, what they might have been doing with ref ID, because we understand that, you know, it is something our customers use and we don't want to break things out of the box. So the current release update is optional. You can turn it on, turn it off, test things out, make sure things are working. And at the start, as we roll out our summer 21 release, it will be a more permanent update.
Okay. That's really important. Thank you for bringing that up. So right now it's opt-in. You can try it in the sandbox, test it out. And summer 21 is when it becomes required. So you have about until June of next year to sort out how you're going to change your code and make sure it's all using the new header items, the new message ID. All right, thank you so much for that. And you know, if you have other questions about that, I know this is something that it's really important that everyone understand what's going to happen, what you need to do. So let's just keep talking about it in the community. And speaking of the community, that's where we're going to go now, because we are done with our questions for today. We need to get ready for our next session, which is coming up at 11 on field service. Hopefully you'll come join us and talk more about field service and get more questions in. So please come join us then. And also for the rest of the week, we'll be here. We got some more great sessions coming up tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. So we hope to see you. And remember, we do have all the recordings that will be published usually within a half a day or so after the webcast airs. Will be on the Salesforce Live website. And if we didn't get to your question, or if you have a burning question, we're going to still continue to follow up with you in a few days or so. So thank you again for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you back at 11. And I can't wait to hear how you are using new features to innovate. So let's just keep that conversation going in the community where all trailblazers meet to be release ready.